what, everybody's just supposed to stop calling them niggas mentally challenged?
Yes.
No.
Not overnight, but you adjust.
No. They don't get that.
So how come when everybody was just saying the N-word and we said we want you to stop calling us that?
That shit is deep rooted in actual like hurtful
and
tones.
And so calling people retarded, where do you think that comes from?
Okay, retarded but mentally challenged, which is okay.
Mentally challenged is fine, but retarded,
I never said
offense
retarded.
To that.
I said mentally challenged.
Okay.
I don't know where this retarded
I think you said
is.
retarded.
I said if retarded niggas said said that they thought that being called mentally challenged, they just stopped liking it, do we all stop calling them niggas mentally challenged?
No, we just stopped calling them retarded. We stopped calling them the thing that they don't want to.
If the retarded niggas say, we don't like being called mentally challenged, do we all stop calling retarded niggas mentally challenged?
Yes, I think that would be the PC thing to do.
And
I don't think people are going to do it.
But why? Why do they get that? Ain't nothing wrong with it. This shit ain't deep rooted in nothing.
Nothing is wrong with it to you. You're not the mentally challenged person.
So
listen to the person who you're calling that. I don't like to be called that. It's offensive. It's derogatory.
Oh my God.
Find a different word. Okay. The other word is mentally challenged.
And niggas stop saying mentally challenged. Okay, well, niggas don't say retarded anymore. Niggas don't say mentally challenged. Now niggas say cognitively disabled. And that's okay. Nobody mad at it. You don't hear now. Every retarded nigga get called that for 3 years. Now it's a movement of retarded niggas don't like cognitively disabled. Now we gotta stop calling them that.
And society changes. Society
so will we have
evolves.
To stop that too?
You don't have to do anything.
Should we?
I'm saying, if you want to get with the times, black people first they were called colored, then Negro, then African American. Like, things change, things evolve. That's not new.
Okay, my thing is, if that shit don't start originally as offensive or is offensive in its original form.
But who...
Them niggas didn't have a problem with it.
Taking offense is subjective. You can't say this is offensive, this is not offensive. If
can.
You're not being offended by it, of course it's not offensive to you. If I'm being offended by it, of course it's going to be offensive to me. So you can't just objectively say this word...
We need some objectives around this bitch. The moment we just can't be objective because everybody have their own ways of thinking about stuff, the moment we abide by that rule, we're fucked. We can't, if this word and term was okay for 30, 40 years, and out of nowhere okay, just leave me out. If this word was okay for this long, it was never offensive, it wasn't meant to be offensive, it was nothing. Then out of nowhere, the new birth of these motherfuckers start getting offended from it. Fuck them. But they gonna have to eat that.
It's not out of nowhere. If these words are being birthed 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago, those same human beings are not on the planet. Things change. Times change. People change.
You change it too crazy. We don't like TV.
You can't just operate like it's 1950s forever.
I'm just saying, we don't like television. I don't like that. We don't play like that. Oh my God. Okay, boom. Now we got a bunch of validly offended people now. Now these niggas is voting and rioting for the word TV to be changed. Everybody just gonna do it now because of these niggas.
Not everybody, but I think
we supposed to do it if we're gonna be that's the PC.
If you want to be, but the world's not like that.
No, I don't think it should be like that. Period.
So you think we should just keep with our old, outdated beliefs, names, sayings? No matter how much we evolve, no matter how much society evolves, we need to stick with the same names, the same definitions until the end of time.
Sometimes.
Now the subjectiveness is okay?
Yes, because the words, for example, But
hear me out. What are you basing that off of? You're saying we should stick to the protocol for these things, but not these things?
Yeah, If things were originally offensive to begin with and we still using it 100 years later, cut that. It was originally offensive. Not originally okay, and then it grew to be offensive. No. These things were originally offensive.
That's gonna make me nervous.
Cut those things. Come on, let's get to the shit. I'm warmed up.
Okay. Welcome to another episode of Unique Moments, where I talk about things from my unique perspective. And I have a guest with me today.
What's up, chat?
And we're going to be talking about the LGBTQ community and maybe the trans community. And it's just a conversation, a candid conversation, just about some thoughts. I do have some questions for him because I know our opinions can differ on the subject. So, yeah, we're just going to talk, have a conversation, and then briefly, we heard a clip of Donald Trump and some things that he's planning on enacting within Congress now that he's the president. And so we're going to discuss our ideas and thoughts and views on those things. But before we get into it, I just want to give just a little timeline for people who might not know the evolution and the history of the LGBTQ plus community. I think it's QAI, and what that stands for is lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, asexual, intersex, and others. And then so just to date it way, way back, like ancient pre-modern times, ancient cultures like the Greeks, the Romans, the Egyptians, they acknowledged same-sex relationships, but obviously not in the context that we do today. And then indigenous cultures, they recognize people they call them two-spirited people, and so they recognize people who have both masculine and feminine qualities. And then you move on to the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, and that's when people were persecuting homosexual acts with religious doctrine and basically punishing same-sex relationships. Fast forward to the 18th, 19th century, you see some legal reforms. France was decriminalizing homosexual acts between consenting adults. And then we move to the early 20th century, and in 1897, they founded the first organization to advocate for homosexual and transgender rights. And then at the same time, there was also severe persecution going on of the LGBTQ community. And so then we're getting into the mid-20th century and post-World War II. There's more persecution happening in the 50s and the 60s. And then that's when they started basically organizing the movements, and so it wasn't just a man alone fight anymore. And so one of the more popular movements, or the riots from 1967 that were held in New York City, and that's considered to be kind of like a turning point for the community. Marsha P. Johnson, she was a American Gay Liberation activist, and she was a prominent figure during the Stonewall riots, and they were just, standing up for themselves and saying that they should have rights and things like that. And then in 1970 was the first pride marches that you see in New York and LA and Chicago. And then we move into the late 80s and 90s, and there's more activism, and we see the rise of AIDS being pinned on homosexual people, of course. And then another notable date, in 1973, the American Psychiatric Association actually removed homosexuality as a disorder. So they previously considered it a mental disorder, and then they removed it. And then early 21st century, which is where we are kind of today, we're seeing more movements. There's still pride going on, and gay people have rights. They have marriage rights. They have equal equality, and but they're still facing kind of persecution and criminalization in a lot of ways. And so that's kind of where we're at with it now. I'll open it up to you if you just have some thoughts.
I definitely got thoughts.
Okay.
And while you was talking, I was doing my own research.
Okay.
And my research is on the other side of yours. Yours is more, official.
Mm-hmm.
Reported, largely felt enough to obviously put in articles and whatnot. Mine was sentiment of people like myself today.
Okay.
And I don't know if I should get into it right now or we should wait a little bit.
No, let's get into it.
Okay. It just seems like for the majority in the official manner, it's all of these fights against the gays, against the whole LGBTQ folks.
Mm-hmm.
From the beginning. It's been fights against them the whole time. And by the sounds of it, it's been revolts against the fights, it's been reforms against fights, then people push for more fighting, and this whole thing back and forth. But at the end of the day, there's a reason why both parties of course, but there's a reason why each party just feels so strongly about this topic.
You mean the gay people feel strongly about their rights, and then the anti feel strongly about taking their rights away?
Yes. And ultimately, String me up for saying it. But somebody right.
Is there one right somebody though?
Yes.
And who do you think is right? And it just indulge me. Who do you think is right? And why does it have to be a right versus wrong? That's my thing. Because who do you think is right?
Well, first, why is there a right versus wrong? Because I ain't never seen somebody who was dead and alive. It's one or the other. I ain't seen somebody halfway pregnant. It's one or the other.
For those things, everything is not black and white.
But
Life, the world that we live in, is not black and white.
The only reason it's not black and white is because we don't necessarily know, quote unquote, know nothing. But most things are black and white. Somebody wrong here and somebody right.
Okay.
And the right group is the ones, I'm not going to say they right for their actions. I'm not going to say you right for hanging gays up and beating them up in alleys and all of that. I'm not going to say those actions are right. But the disdain and rebellion against the whole gay movement, I think that's right.
So you're saying they should be persecuted? Because if taking it away from America for a second, like in countries in like Africa, in continents like Africa and countries, like being gay is punishable by death, like being, you know, all of that. So do you agree with that level of extreme to remedy the situation?
Well, if you look at being gay as some spiritual people might look at it as being parasitic.
Break that down.
Well, it is theories out here to where a lot of quote unquote gay people, they just feel with attitude, sexual orienting parasites, adjusting parasites. And these parasites, they change the way people think, they change the way people act, they change the way people eat, feel, the whole nine. And sometimes, depending on the origins of those parasites, it might have people doing some fruity activities.
Okay.
Now, same thing as with demons. Some people relate demons to parasites, parasites to demons, depending on who you is.
I've heard that.
But if it's separate, when you got certain demons on your back, some of them niggas be having you kill people. Some of them be having you rape people. Some of them be having you not leave your apartment for 80 days. Some people have whatever. But a lot of them Johns be attaching themselves onto certain type of people for longer times than not, permanently. Even people from birth, these could be passed down cursed demons. It could be whatever they are. But a lot of these things be altering the ways people's sexualities are. Now, we looking at people, if we're looking at it from those two angles, is persecution, is burning people at the stake that are gay right? No, it's never right. They're still people. But at the same time, if it's only one way to get rid of a parasite or a demon, is that the right thing to do? It got to be other ways. I can't sit here and say that it's right.
Right.
But it's almost understandable. Burning a person, I would never get down. I would never get with that.
But burning a demon, maybe you could get behind.
In a way, yes. But I don't believe in hurting gay people. I don't believe in people hanging them up, burning them, beating them up. I don't believe in none of that at all. That's not okay.
And that's my thing, because you can disagree without having the hate of it. You know what I mean? Like, people are actively pursuing hate crimes against gay people simply because they're gay. Like, do you think that is right? Well, actually, going into my first question, do you think that people decide to be gay? Or do you think that's something that's decided? So, like, for example, straight people, I don't think they decide to be straight. I think you're just attracted to the opposite sex. Maybe some might say naturally. But do you think that you could naturally be attracted to the same sex? Or do you think people choose? Do you think it's something that you're born that way? Do you think you decide one day that you want to be gay?
I think it's learned behavior. Like, I remember when I was a little boy, I wasn't straight or gay. I was neither one. I don't know nothing about nothing. I don't necessarily like women. Damn sure don't like... I don't like nobody. I'm just floating here. But eventually, I learned to be quote-unquote straight. At a certain point, my dad pointing out women. Look at that, look at that. I don't even know why I'm looking, but I know he turned his head and look at him. When I walk past one, I'm going to turn my head and look at him.
Right. And
then eventually, at some point, some level of interest came for the other sex, for women. a curiosity, some may say. And that curiosity expounded itself into an attraction, a sexual attraction, a sexual, desire for women. But as those sexual attractions and desires developed in me as a young boy, it was reinforced by what I was learning around me. My father, other men around me, boys around me. This was all a learned behavior in a way. And each day, each week, it was compound learnings of that being straight, quote unquote, behavior. So did it happen naturally to me? I don't know. Felt more so learned. It wasn't forced, but damn near could look at it as being forced. So when it comes to gay people though, or people who are same sex oriented, in a way, you say like, is it a choice? Is it natural? In a way, I think that they have a choice on which one they gon' reiterate in their learnings every single day. Which one are you choosing to relate to day to day? And I feel like the more you choose to relate to either way, the more you sway. The more it becomes a part of you, the more it is you. Now you're that thing.
But what do you say, because you said it's learned behavior, so what do you say to people who they're the only gay person in their family or in their friend group? Like, they don't have gay friends, they don't have gay family members, but they're gay. Where did they learn that from?
TV,
but
music.
even with the choice, like, I'm a gay man, right? I'm attracted to men. Like, you're saying it's like a choice, like, the next day, can I just choose I'm going to be attracted to women and I'm no longer... Because that's what people do. They put them in, like, these camps, these conversion camps, and they say, we're going to, whatever it is, pray the gay away, wash the gay away, whatever we're going to do, we're going to eradicate it. And so it's like, if it's not clicking, like, if no matter how many times, no matter how many women you bring me, I'm not attracted to them. My dick doesn't get hard. I don't see myself in that way. How do they just make a different choice?
It's too late for them.
So
unless they get that
job.
So
in the beginning, it's learned behavior and it's a choice, and then at a certain point, it's a point of no return.
Yes, essentially. If you done compounded 10, 15, 20 years. And years is a 1 year is a bunch of days. 1 day is a bunch of hours, so on to minutes, that you've been enforcing this thought, these things, this orientation, this way. So yeah, once you've done that for so long, you reach a point to where you ain't really going off of what you just learning no more. You going off of this you now. So it might be too late for those folks. But before they got to the point to where they were 100% dick getting hard for another man, before you got there, you could have stopped that shit, bruh.
Okay, and then on the flip side, what do you say to people who actively do not want to be gay, but maybe they stumbled upon some same-sex attraction? Like, do you think that's normal? Like, for example, let's say there are people not necessarily in the closet, but like, you grew up, no one's gay around you. Being gay is not bad, but it's just not the norm. Or that you're different, and you've had a girlfriend all your life, maybe all throughout high school, all throughout college, but like, you notice something.
You got a demon.
That's it.
Simple.
That's it.
You got something going on with you where you fucked up a little bit.
So it's nothing to act on. It's just exercise as a demon, and you'll be okay.
You'll be alright. Now, I'm not one of those, throw holy water on a nigga until he good type niggas.
That's what it's giving.
No, it's not that.
Like, go to church, pray to God, tell him to make you straight, and you'll be alright.
You have to do more than that. Just like if you sick, listen, if you had a dog, a male dog, and you bring all type of women dogs to mate with this male dog, he ain't touching none of them. As soon as he get around the boy dogs, he Humpy Gonzalez. You like, nah, bro, something wrong with my dog. Something is wrong with my dog. I need to get him swapped out, fixed. Something is wrong with him. Same thing with your cat. Same thing with your pet fish. Every species on planet Earth, you're going to say the same things.
Beings.
I was waiting for you to say, but we're humans.
Human beings.
We're human beings, quote unquote, but that's like saying, that's like a bird saying, but we're foul. We're birds. Nigga, we still human. We're still animals, I mean.
But we're not.
We are still very much
highly
animals.
intelligent animals.
We are
Animals do not have the capabilities that we have in terms of reasoning, emotions, but like deductive reasoning and things like that.
We're so intelligent to where we confuse ourselves. That's how intelligent we are. We're not so intelligent to where we're able to now be able to expand into being gay because we're so smart. No. We're so intelligent to outside factors can actually harm, could change, adjust what we do. We're so intelligent. A cow could walk past 30 dogs, male dogs humping each other in the corner and still gonna hump only the opposite sex cows. It's good. Animals, that you right. Them niggas not gonna be tripping like that. They're not gonna be altered. Humans, we are so smart. So if we see too much of that shit, if the energy is, we don't even gotta see it.
Right.
If the vibe, the air smelling too gay, one of them niggas gonna be gay. Cause we design like that. So yes. But regardless, once that happens, there's an error. Something not right took place the moment niggas start going same sexy.
So my thing is, I'm not disagreeing, but and if the demon is your answer, it's your answer. But I'm like, where did it come from? Like, if everyone was supposed to be straight or heterosexual, where does that come from? Like, why all of a sudden are these people feeling more comfortable in a same-sex relationship? Why are these people like, where did it come from?
Well, it came from all type of things. Are you talking about the first gay nigga?
No, I'm not talking about the first one. I'm talking about, like, do you think inherently all of us have this thing inside of us where we know, like, this isn't supposed to be happening? Like, where we know that, like, women on women, men on men is not right. You know, so if we all have that...
Yes.
The people who are, I guess, going against it, or the people who are gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, you think they're ignoring their inner like
yes the same way the person who's killing somebody know that this shit is wrong, they still do it.
I disagree, and I think that's tricky because you get into mental disorders. Because I think when something,
I'm glad you said that
but
word.
Well, hold on.
We're stumbling onto something.
Hold on.
For you to think that shit is okay, you're nuts a little bit.
Hold on, because I already know where you're gonna go. Okay.
So my thing, let me ask you something.
Wait. Okay, let
me ask you something. So when I get to mentioning that, okay, yeah, people innately know that it's not right to kill somebody or rape shit or do all these other crazy foul things. People shoulder shrug them and do them. Your first response is, oh, mental illnesses. Same thing with the gay niggas.
But they proved that was not a mental illness.
Who's they?
The psychologists, the people who study mental illness.
Oh, she's talking about the same people who got a long track history of being wrong as fuck, of being pocket.
So if that's the case, if they're wrong about that, then we would have to say they're wrong about all of it.
No,
then
you don't.
Schizophrenia is not a mental disorder.
You don't have to.
Bipolar is not a mental disorder. Depression is not a mental disorder.
Don't we know that autism is curable? Don't we know that now dementia is curable? Aren't those the same genes?
Well, yeah. If we're getting into this talk, I believe, yeah.
No, but we can't. We can't pick and choose.
But hear me out, because I feel like you're saying the same thing but saying a different thing. So if they've disproven all of these things as curable and as not mental disorders, so you're trying to say the people who decide what is a mental disorder are fake, like they should not be trusted.
The psychologists who we put all our
psychiatrists
who said that, oh no, being gay ain't no mental illness. Oh no, nothing is wrong with this person mentally. They're lying. We should not trust them because those same people were paid to lie about this, that, and this, that, and the third. So let's not even bring them up.
Okay.
They got an agenda, obviously.
So the comparison that you're making is people who are gay think it's okay because they have a mental illness.
People who are not just, that's their mental illness plays into it, yes. But that's not just all encompassing. It's a lot of things. If every single day, me as a regular melanated being walking around here, and every single day I see other niggas who look just like me. All of these niggas, for some way, somehow, think that they 90% Caucasian. Uncle Ruckus niggas. Every nigga I meet like this, everyone, it will kinda make sense. For one crazy ass day I wake up, I'm like, damn, I think I'm 90% too. I kinda vibe, I'm kinda sick. Eventually shit like that happens. That plays into it. Ain't just the fact these niggas mentally ill. You got so much of it around, you need to be mentally ill some. After you mentally ill some, okay, maybe not mentally ill is not the word, but when something ain't connecting right up there,
right.
Other things could lead to you being on that. Yeah.
Okay, so my next question is, do you think the LGBTQ community is a threat to society?
Yes.
And I want you to explain why, but because, especially with what Trump is doing, and we can get to what he said in a minute, but it's like, they're not going to let them live in peace. Like, you know? Shouldn't. Like, but I don't think, okay, the transgender conversation is a different conversation. I do think that's harming people. But I'm saying specifically people, the LGBTQ community in general, like, they don't let them live peacefully. They don't let them protest peacefully. They don't let them do their movements peacefully. Like, it's always such a thing. And they're not bothering anybody. Like, they got their marriage rights. They petitioned, they rioted, they did all those things. And so it's like, now they just want to live in peace. They just want to live like every other human being.
Go somewhere else. And
so why do you think the community is a threat? Like, why do you think they are so heavily attacked and heavily not sought after, but they just don't let them live in peace? Like, who I have sex with is not your business. Who's in my room, in my bed, why is that your business? Why are you making it a point to make it your business so bad?
Okay, if the gay niggas did that shit in secret and crawl under the scows of every sewer,
why should they have to live?
I'm about to tell you. If they did it that way, you right. It don't even matter. Even if somebody slipped me a note and said so-and-so fruity, we not about to go get pitchforks and fire flames and go to they wood house and burn down. No, they cool. They doing that. The reason it's so harmful is because they're not just doing this shit in private. They're not just. The reason it's harmful is because the same reason why undeserving, unknowing, undeveloped people are fruity potentially due to an exposure in the environment to this. Because we're so smart and we're human, we're this, that. These exposures could possibly latch on to some people in a way to where they're almost infected by it. If everybody around you is super duper fucking happy all the time, you're going to be affected by happiness. If all you consume is horror shit and crazy foul shit, you going to have some foul and crazy. Now, when you combine a whole bunch of gay shit around you and a little twinge of something not all the way being learned thoroughly through, you don't necessarily learn the correct path of your sexuality, what it should do, what it shouldn't look like. When it's flaws in the way that you think or the way that you've learned, not your fault, like it's whatever. But when these little cracks in the glass is there, these people who over here protesting butt naked with fucking colors all on them and spewing fuck who you want, do this, do that, it's normal for you to do this. You can't have your history teacher teaching you something happened in 1960 and the English teacher teaching you something totally different happened in 1960, but they clashing. No, you gonna have that glass gonna crack and crack and crack, and you might fuck around and become one of them type niggas. And that's why it's almost like the COVID-19 around here with that shit. It's not, if it was quiet happening under the rug, them niggas getting their own rooms and hoop, hop, and hooray for themselves in there, do that. We ain't gonna burn your house down. But when that shit get to bleeding off into the innocence and could possibly alter the people who probably shouldn't, or to people who shouldn't be on that at all, shouldn't be gay, shouldn't have the possibility of being trans, you got fucking teachers seeping shit into kids' psyche that's already cracked to do the confusion.
That I agree with, but especially in the minds of young children. Like that should not be influenced, should not be touched.
I feel like it's so easy to relate to the teacher slipping that in there because we able to clearly see the effect somebody like a teacher can have to somebody like a student. We can see it so close to us. We've all been teachers. We've all been students before, and we all know about teachers. But it's so much harder to conceptualize when we looking at it as society as just a voice that a kid might hear. Instead of it being a teacher and a kid, it's just a voice that a person might hear. It's harder to conceptualize, but it still causes the same damage. It's still the same influence. And it's not just about these people hoop hopping, hooraying, and you got to click through 30 channels. You got to slide on Instagram 50, 100 million times to even see the shit. No, it's also in your music. It's also in your TV. It's also in the way that you see it on the street. You scroll on Instagram 50 million times, you see it. Then you scroll on here and here and you see it. It's causing so many little tears and fractures in places that can't afford tears and fractures. Period. And that's why niggas be going after this shit. We gotta stop it. It's not the fact that, oh, we care so much who in your bed and who you fucking. No, we care about you being so loud about this choice of yours, this action of yours.
That is like overly influential.
It's harming.
Yeah.
We will also investigate whether Big Pharma or others have illegally marketed hormones and puberty blockers which are in no way licensed or approved for this use. My Department of Education will inform states and school districts that if any teacher or school official suggests to a child that they could be trapped in the wrong body, they will be faced with severe consequences, including potential civil rights violations for sex discrimination and the elimination of federal funding. As part of our new credentialing body for teachers, we will promote positive education about the nuclear family, the roles of mothers and fathers, and celebrating rather than erasing the things that make men and women different and unique. I will ask Congress to pass a bill establishing that the only genders recognized by the United States government are male and female, and they are assigned at birth. The bill will also make clear that Title IX prohibits men from participating in women's sports, and we will protect the rights of parents from being forced to allow their minor child to assume a gender which is new and an identity without the parents' consent. The identity will not be new, and it will not be without parental consent. No serious country should be telling its children that they were born with the wrong gender, a concept that was never heard of in all of human history. Nobody's ever heard of this, what's happening today. It was all when the radical left invented it just a few years ago. Under my leadership, this madness will end. Thank you very much.
And to the clip that we heard that Trump was talking about, I think he was saying something like the teachers were going to be persecuted for spreading like their information to children about being a different gender, or what did he also say?
He said that teachers will be persecuted for basically insinuating that the kid could be of a different gender.
Okay. And then he also said he was only going to recognize two genders, male and female, and also there were other things. But the thing I want to say about the teacher thing is I agree, because children are so impressionable and their minds are still forming. Throughout adulthood, their minds are still forming. So I don't think that there should be any other added influence, especially in a place as significant as school, where you show up every day and where your teachers are very influential. A lot of kids' teachers have impacts on their lives well after they're out of school. But my question to that is, what do you say to the person who is trans or thinks they're trans or thinks they're gay or are questioning or are curious or are something, and at home they have this, he also said he was going to start presenting more ideas about the nuclear family, but in the home, since no one in their family is gay and no one has any even connection to that reality, to that realm, which is how they want it, which is how they like it, but this child has this innate feeling that I'm different. I'm not like them. They want me to start dating guys, but I'm not attracted to men. And sometimes at school, what if there is that teacher that's not necessarily pushing it onto them, but that's just like giving them information or like someone to talk to? Because I think at that age, children are also very impressionable, and like there's a lot of death by suicide for this community, for the LG, and some people might argue because of their already existing mental illness, like of course that leads to thoughts of suicide and things of that nature. But a lot of it is also feeling like you're an outsider, feeling like you're different, feeling like you don't fit in, you don't belong here, I don't belong on this earth, I'm just going to take my life. And so I think a teacher could be that refuge for a student who is completely lost or doesn't know, or their parents hate gay people and so they could never come out to them. Like some people, they could just never do that. Like that would be the end of their life. And so it's like, I don't think that teachers should be pushing things onto students, but I do think even if it's not the gay agenda, like historically school and like teachers, that is like a third space that's not your home, that's not somewhere outside of where you can go and you can feel safe. So if a child cannot feel safe in their home because of how they identify sexually or because they're differently, and because they're different, and if a child can't feel safe among their friend group or among their family, and now school, what is left the fate of that child?
Well, I guess to answer that full encompassingly, if that's the word, I tried.
We can make it a word.
Yeah. But in whole, I think what the teacher should do, because these teachers aren't psychologists, these teachers aren't super smart themselves. These teachers might not be fully developed in themselves. These people might have the same cracks that we trying to stop from cracking in the kid. Like, so if a teacher is going to open up their mouth and try to quote unquote help this kid and be their save and refuge, their third home, I think that it would be better for the teacher. Again, if we're talking about the teacher and the kid, this kid is still in their learning phase. They not so far gone to where they're cooked for real, for the most part, unless they're cooked already, and anyways. But I think it'll be better if teachers were to help teach the child properly, guide their ways into where it kind of should be. This child is obviously, I'm not going to use the word confused.
It's like questioning.
Yeah, child is questioning. The child doesn't necessarily know nothing. They might sway here a little bit, might sway a little straight, might sway a little gay, but they still got some sway on them. You know what I'm saying? It ain't up for this teacher to say, look, I see you swaying like a motherfucker. Look, you could do whatever you want. You could be whatever, which one you relate to more. No, I don't think that's a proper right for a teacher to do. I think if you're going to you teaching all the other shit you just think is also right and trained to think right, you should help properly guide. Because you're right. Being cornered against, being bullied at home, persecuted verbally everywhere, all around the world, and now you go to school and you get the same thing. Enough of this shit, it might push a kid over the edge, and it might cause for some suicides and all of that. So you got to approach it carefully. You can't be another flame to the fire that these kids is experiencing, but you can be you could be a hot skillet in the fire. Like you ain't no cold bucket of ice that they might be wanting, but that might not be what they need. You could softly say, look, okay, I see you, you feeling this, you leaning towards this way, I understand this is a hard time, but do all the sympathizing and empathizing in the world that you need to do to get to that level with the kid, and just say, look, and you, again, these people not geniuses, these people not psychiatrists, psychologists, all of these things, so they shouldn't even have to be doing this, and they should never even step in there in the first place.
But as a teacher, I think you take on more than the role of a teacher. You're a influence in that child's life.
That is, influence it all the ways but that one then, if you're going to not help teach the kid to get back on the proper track.
But who's to say
the proper track is only one? This is not one of those possibly black or white things. There's only one track to be on.
And what is that track?
Which is the track that we're all naturally, innately supposed to be on, and intuitively know that we're supposed to be on. The moment you realize, like, damn, I'm gay, you automatically know I'm different. I don't fit in with these niggas. Mm-hmm. I'm this, I'm that. You know that shit is not the norm. You know that that's not the okay thing. You know that you're an outlier. You're an outcast in a way. So innately, you know which one is the right one to do, the right one to be. The only one that merges well with nature for the most part. The only one that gets you a result. If you're doing something that has to do with another human, we're only designed to do things that cause results with humans. That's how we're designed physically. Mentally, that's how we're designed. If you're choosing to do the one that doesn't give you a single result, you can't net anything physical from whatever you're doing, then unfortunately, nigga, you on the wrong side of the doings. So it's a plenty of ways to conceptualize which one is right or wrong. Mm-hmm. But if you a teacher, your job is to help steer towards the right. I would say as a teacher, don't touch none of that. Yeah, steer the kid in as many ways as you could possibly steer.
You're supposed to be teaching them. Stick to your subject and
stick to your fucking subject. And we should have psychologists in school. We should have all of these different people in place in these schools to be that, because they can help do it in a way that'll not lead to these niggas going over the edge, not feeling ostracized, so on and so forth.
Yeah. You said something and I had another question. Okay. Do you think religion plays a role, or like what part? Let me not say God, but I'm saying, and specifically because personally I've been to a open LGBTQ church.
Don't know how that worked.
Yeah, I was very shocked, very shocked and very surprised. I went to one in college, and you know, they're the nicest people, sweetest people, teach the Bible, they pray, they do all the things. And so, and before then, that was a shock to me. Like, I think growing up and just kind of being in America or being in the world, it's like, you know, gay and religion, like, they don't go together. Like, you know, it's like it's a sin to be gay, or it's a sin to do all these things, but yet we have gay pastors and gay, like, you know, all these things. So do you think that these people are like making a mockery of the religion, or do you think they're like living out their truth? Do you think that Christianity is not Christianity, but I guess adopting a religion or a faith is effective in someone not being gay?
Well, I think every organization that's super duper onto something that's infiltratable eventually gets infiltrated. And I think in the church, the Christian church, or whatever the case may be, the gay people, the gay pastors, the gay whoever's there, and big gay LGBTQ church and doing all of this, these are just infiltrated places of God. They got infiltrated.
So you don't think these are people of God? Do you think you could be gay and be a person of God? A man of God, a woman of God? Well,
I guess it depends on how much, I don't know. It depends on what ground God stand on. If God is whatever you read in the Bible, and the 30, 50, 100 things that the Bible say God is God to you, but you get to subtract the ones that you don't personally fuck with, I mean, I don't know what you're for. And it's not even the same thing for gay people. Like, are killers for God. You got people who fight for the Lord. You got people who go kill motherfuckers with crosses on their chest. Are these people for God? Like, I'm not gonna just single out the gay niggas being for God or not for God because they're gay. Same thing, I wouldn't do that to a killer or whoever's. Like, I don't know. I guess that's up to your personals. To me though, shoot. Like, I don't think any person who abide by things that isn't for the good of themselves and others are necessarily like the most super pro-goddess people around.
Okay. So you don't think sexuality really has anything to do with it?
I wouldn't say that.
Does it have a large part to do with it?
I don't. The thing is, I just don't know enough to give a hard answer.
Okay.
I simply don't know. I don't know. It don't.
Okay, that's fair.
Intuitively though, I can give you an intuitive answer.
Yeah, give me what your intuition say.
Intuitively, hell no, that shit ain't right. Hell no, it don't feel right at all. I don't think my nigga G.O.D. I don't think no person comfortable could look down and see the super gayest acts you could possibly think of going down and say, yeah, I like that. Yeah, I'm pro that right there.
Yeah.
That's a tough one to swallow.
Yeah, and I think when you think about it in that context, like, if you're talking about the Bible, like, it just doesn't feel right. Like, it doesn't seem right. But I'm wondering is it the same when you take it out of that context? Like, of course, no one's about to be, like, in the church parading, their sexuality. But, like, when you get out in the world, people are parading their sexuality. So I'm wondering, is it really, like, I don't know how serious it is. But transitioning into the transgender, unless you have something else to say. Okay. Well, you kind of already touched on this, but the question is, do you think people who identify as transgender have a disease or a mental disorder?
Something ain't right. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a mental disease or disorder. It's a disorder.
Like something is not in order.
The orders ain't right.
And I hear that. The issue that I have trouble believing that, because it's like, what do you say to, like, if it wasn't a thing, it wouldn't be a thing. And what I mean by that is, you have this 5-year-old boy, like, if, like, everything was normal, then nothing would be, he wouldn't be identifying as a woman, because people feel that they're transgender early on. If this was something where people were coming out as identifying as transgender when they're in high school or college, or, like, they have all their brain functions, but it's like children, before they could be heavily influenced, because you're not watching transgender TV before you're 5 years old. Like, maybe you are, maybe you're not, but before people can be heavily influenced, there are small children before the age of 7 who say, I feel like I'm a girl inside, or I feel like I'm a boy inside. So do they have a mental disorder that young?
Can babies be born with extra fingers, no legs? Can a baby be born with snub lips and no ears? What makes us think that shit stops when it comes to that brain? Some shit just ain't right. The same way them little niggas be born with messed up body parts, something could just be as messed up in them little heads. Simple. It ain't gotta be learned or trained or taught or felt or none of that. Something just ain't right up there. Something got crossed somewhere in there. Accidents happen in the creation process.
I don't think so.
Proof is in the pudding.
I don't know if accidents happen. You think God makes mistakes?
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't say everything is of just, God just ain't this being that's just super duper, I'm about to do right by everything and everybody every time.
Right. I don't think so. I don't think so either.
So it's allowed rapes are allowed, mistakes are allowed, killings are allowed, fucking the whole 9 is allowed when it comes to the eyes of God. So when it comes to a quote unquote mistake, you think God makes mistakes? I wouldn't say God just make mistakes, but God give us free will down here, and maybe the free will of 100 generations ago is the reason why this little nigga is born without a kneecap. Maybe the choice of niggas 2 whatevers ago, whatever, is the reason why this person brain is not functioning the right way. I'm not gonna say God made a mistake, but we made the mistakes. We lived through them. Like, I ain't gonna say it's a mistakey thing, but something ain't right because of a bunch of factors.
Okay, and then at what age if you think there is an age, do you think children can decide or know that they feel differently than their gender, than their sex assigned?
As soon as they can talk. I mean, you can know something quick. Like, you can know something ain't right quick.
But you think just because they know that, that doesn't make it... Because I think in this whole debate, I don't think children should be able to get sexual reassignment surgery. I don't think a child should be able to make that decision, even if they have their parents backing them making that decision. I don't agree with that. But for someone to say, like, acknowledge they feel differently, you think their parents should, like, nip that in the bud, like, right then and there, like, oh no, you don't. You're just confused. You are a boy. You feel like a boy. These thoughts, just push them out of your mind. They're not real thoughts. Like, do you think... Because I feel like that could create a whole nother disorder within itself.
Another disorder. So, I mean, we obviously...
Okay.
So, we obviously could agree that it's one there.
Okay. I don't know if I want to classify it as a disorder. I think the disconnect is if I'm a woman... and I don't identify with women attributes, with the way women are supposed to dress, with their mannerisms, with my body parts, with my breasts, with my vagina. If I don't identify with that, like if something about that feels gross or off or like icky to me, I'm not going to say it's a disorder, but I think there's something, the wires are crossed there.
The wires being crossed is the disorder.
No, I'm not going to call it a disorder. Something about that feels so... negative.
It's just the word. We just don't like being flawed, I guess.
No.
But the wires being crossed, that means some shit ain't ordered right. We could call it something else, though. We could just call them crossed wires.
Okay.
But them wires being crossed, they not functioning right. We got a malfunction going on in there.
So...
Well, hold on. Wait, real quick. You in this scenario not identifying with the way women dress, the way women talk, the way women are viewed, and all of these things, that's fine. Because those are all trained and learned behaviors given to us by the last human that we seen or saw, whatever. Cool, you don't gotta agree with that. But the moment you butt naked with all the same things that you were born with, and you looking down and you say, bro, I don't feel this vagina, bro. I'm not fucking with these titties out here. This is no. That's when you start becoming on the other side a little bit.
Side.
Yeah.
So you think it's okay for children to express that they don't feel comfortable in their body, but not do anything about it?
I don't think it's okay. I don't think a person born paralyzed from the leg waist down is okay. I don't think these malfunctions are quote unquote okay. No, not at all. So if somebody is young and they just not relating to none of this, they not fucking with their body, they confused about it and the whole nine, I don't think that it's quote unquote okay to live in it and not express or do nothing about it physically or vice versa, whatever. The whole act of them, even a young boy hating his penis and not relating to it at all and feeling like he shouldn't have it, that's all bad work. That's all sad and wish it wasn't happening to them. They fucked up top.
So what do you think a solution would be? Like getting that person into therapy versus having them get surgery to get the body part that they're comfortable with?
I honestly don't know a solution for them. I'm not genius. They are so in a certain way.
Because they just want to be a normal person in society. They just want to function how it's not too late for them. Because that's the thing. If everything was functioning properly, if I was normal, I wouldn't even feel a need to go and change my body parts. Like, you know?
But you doing that, obviously you not wired all the way as you probably should be. And because you're not wired, in order for you to feel finally wired right, you want to go do something external. That don't fix wires. You're still in a bad spot.
It doesn't. But if we're comparing it, let's just take surgery, for example. I know it's very different, but I'm going to make a comparison. So when people are unhappy with their lips or their breast or their nose, they go get them done, or their ass, they go get a BBL. And like, one, no one's persecuting them for these things, and two, people would argue that that does make them feel a lot better. They do like the way their body looks. They do like the way they look in the mirror now when they take off their clothes, and they can be happy with themselves. They can feel okay with themselves. And some might say that that is a good payout for the surgery that they had to do. So if a transgender individual wants to finally feel comfortable in their skin, wants to finally like what they see when they look in the mirror, and they decide to get surgery, how is that different?
Ultimately, in the way that you laid it out, alteration, when we just numb it down to an alteration being you being unsatisfied with something, you go get it fixed, now you're satisfied with it. What's the difference between a trans person who want to do that with their private parts versus a person, a trans or non-trans person, whoever, a regular person, non-regular person, not like being satisfied with their nose and going to go get a new nose? When it's that simple and it's that comparison, there isn't necessarily one at all. But that falls in the same category to me. I don't think a trans person should or should not do whatever the fuck they want to do. I don't think that trans people or non-trans people should get this done to them or not, or the whole nine. I don't give a damn. Like, that's them.
Mm-hmm.
Only thing that I give a damn about is the convincing, the super megaphone exposure and awareness being drawn to you do it too.
Mm-hmm.
That's where shit get a little tricky.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not satisfied with whatever you got going on, you got the means to go do something about it, go do you. I'm not gonna say you wrong for that. That's on you, gang. But I'm not gonna sit here and say ain't nothing wrong with that person.
Mm-hmm.
Still something a little wrong.
So you think do what you gotta do, but there's something wrong there.
Yeah, and I don't care that there's something wrong with them neither.
Right.
Like, yes,
it's on them.
If it's a conversation that we having, oh, nothing's wrong with trans people, you're crazy if you think it is. Well, yeah, it is. I'm a shoulder shrug the whole conversation. Yeah, it is. Well, you know, ain't killing me, ain't killing you. Who cares?
And that's the attitude that I wish people would have. Because you can have your opinions. If you think it's wrong, you think it's wrong. But I think it's when you get into the hatred territory. Like, some people refuse, like with the pronouns, some people refuse to call people they or them. Or some people refuse, if you are now a he and you were a she, I'm not calling you he. I'm still going to call you she. And would you, like, what does it take away from you to call someone what they want to be called?
My common sense, my understanding that I understand what I'm looking at. You want me to be tricked with you? You want me to the same way?
It's not being tricked though.
Yeah, you got that new dick, and you've been acting different. You want me to act different with you?
Because I'm different. I'm a new person. If I get a new name, are you going to sit there and just call me my old name because that's what you knew me as and that's what you want to call me?
I'm not going to call you nothing. Because I don't got time for you jumping all, getting all hot. You're obviously going to crash out about that. I don't want that. I'm not going to call you anything. But I'm not about to call you Brittany, bro. That's weird. Like, your name Brandon. I'm not calling you
But my
Brittany.
name is now Brittany.
I'm not doing that, brother. Brother, I'm not doing that with you. I'm just not gonna call you nothing.
So if you got, but that's equally disrespectful. And the thing about it is, I think it wouldn't be so bad if, like, I think it's an acknowledgement thing and a respect thing, an acknowledgement of identity. Like, even a normal person, we're not taking transgender, a normal person, if I get a new name and you refuse to call me by my name, that's disrespectful.
How about this?
Whatever your reasons are, like, you're not acknowledging me and my identity and who I am as a person and human being just because you don't want to, which is fine. You have that right, but it's like, what does it take from you to acknowledge me in the way that I want to be acknowledged?
Okay.
I'm not asking you to side and to agree with transgenderism and to.
That's in a little piece. It is damn near siding with it by even going along as far as calling you whatever you want to be called. Now you got to change. But overall, if I'm thinking from a super mead out perspective, if my homeboy, he hate being called Nick, and he wide scale changed his name to John. And I knew him as Nick my whole life. I'm not gonna keep calling that nigga Nick, bro. If you so hell bent on being fucking John, nigga, now you John.
So what is the difference?
I'm about to tell you. I'm gonna call whoever the fuck what they want to be called. I don't have no problem with that. Largely thinking, I don't have a problem with calling Brandon Brittany. If you want to be Brittany, nigga, you Brittany. And calling you the name don't do me no difference. But after I call you Brittany, and you say, okay, now am I a man or a woman? That, brother, that's where I'm not about to just call you what you want to be called now. You ain't gonna trick and fuck me up too.
Right.
But a name, I can get with calling people whoever they want to be called. I ain't got no problem with that.
Okay. And then to kind of wrap it up, so maybe you don't have a hard solution, but for the children, because I think that is who this mainly affects, with the LGBTQ agenda being so out there, with the transgender being so out there. It's like the kids are very young, the kids are very impressionable, the kids are making decisions that are irreversible. And so what do you think is the way to go about that? Because the idea of people being transgender is not going away. The idea of people being gay, lesbian, queer, bisexual is not going away. And so I've heard, I haven't seen these stories, but I've heard people, regretting their decisions of changing their, body parts, of saying, I'm not gay anymore, of, whether they got the demon off of them, they came to Jesus, whatever it was, like they've changed their minds. And I think when they get the surgery, that's something so permanent where you can't just change your mind and say, oh, I want to go back to being a girl now. But at the same time, I think people not talking about it and people being persecuted for talking about it, you're limiting the information that's out there. You're limiting the knowledge that people can get, which I also think is doing more harm. So it's like, how do you go about it in a way that's not so pushing this agenda on people, but it's also like it doesn't keep it in the dark? Because when you keep things in the dark, like that's also, it doesn't help.
True.
Because people aren't being educated, people aren't seeing these things, and I think that was a problem before. Like, gay people never went away. Like, they were just doing it in the closet. That's where that term is coming from. Like, you're in the closet, you're hiding, you're ashamed of your sexual identity, of your personality. You can't come out of the closet because people won't accept you. They won't see you in this world that we live in. So it's like, what is the remedy for that? Like, if you're bringing up kids in this world, like you personally or just in general, like, it's out there. It's going to be out there. It's going to be in social media. It's going to be in the news. It's going to be at school. Like what do you do? What would you do to make sure that they remain, I don't want to say on the straight and narrow, but like just remain like, clear
Unharmed.
about what's what. Yeah.
That's
because
fair.
I think because their minds are very impressionable, someone who may not even have considered like being gay or trans, like they just might pick that up at school one day, and it's like no rhyme or reason behind it. They just like saw somebody else doing it and they want to fit in and they want to be popular and they want to be with the cool kids, and so now they're that.
Well, I do it the same way I'll treat cigarettes, or I'll treat
It's
drugs.
a bigger deal than cigarettes.
But I still the same treatment. It's gonna look a little different, but still the same treatment. Same way I would treat the youth when it comes to drugs and alcohol, as just period. Stay away from that stuff. Like, of course it's an option. You're gonna see it everywhere. You're gonna hear about it. Some of your friends might say it's cool. And again, this is all in relations to the whole sexual orientations or whatever's. You're gonna hear about it. TV gonna say it's this, the radio gonna say it's this, your friends this, all of that. But it got sharp claws, sharp talons. You can get hooked and picked up and taken away from that shit. Yeah, with that shit. Yeah. But the goal here is to stay this way. The goal here is to continue to learn and be this way. And I think that's gonna overall rule, because just like it's just as much druggies, it's just as much these and those types of, let's say, not so good of paths, I would say, or not so okay of paths.
Mm-hmm.
It's more, or equally, but most of the time way more of those things opposites.
Right.
So yeah, it's a lot of gay, trans, to be cool to do this. You gotta do this. You should do this. It'll look like this.
Because gay people are fun.
Gay people are fun, but
and fashionable and funny.
It's a bunch of straight, fashionable, and fun people.
It's not the same. It does not hit the same.
Don't let all that noise get you cooked, brother. Simply, or sister, simply put, you know, again, one of them, you gonna have to outright tell the kids one of these is right and the other one is wrong.
But if they identify with the wrong one, not because they know it's wrong, not because they want to, but if you lay it out, this one is right and this one is wrong, and they ask themselves, which one do I feel more aligned with?
You snatch that.
You
snatch that right there. You snatch that very thought from happening.
But do you know how...
Which one am I? You don't have a choice, nigga?
Do you know how dangerous that is? Because now...
It's dangerous
because...
they
are not living life for themselves.
So
now
what?
They are, okay, my parent told me this, so it's this.
Hey,
it's
look.
not, I feel this. It's, I was told this is who I am, so this is who I am.
So what?
Do you know how much therapy they're going to have to do when they turn 30?
You know, the only reason they go... Okay. Nigga,
because their whole identity was centered around who their parent told them they were.
You your parents' slave and no nobody say shit. You are your parents literally in the house slave for a long time.
Okay. Okay.
And ain't nobody saying, but that's not who I am. That's not what I want to do. I'm not living for me. It's cool then. Ain't nobody on the news saying they gonna have to be in therapy now because you're a slave for them.
But when they actually will, like, people who grow up like that, like, no one's saying it, but like, there are a lot of people who probably need therapy for the way they grew up and the way their parents treated them like a slave.
Okay, fine. You might be a little fucked up from that, but everything in this new world that we live in is gonna have you fucked up. You gonna have to go see TP for something around this bitch. Simply put, you not getting out of that. Sitting out that chair.
Okay.
So, but again, let's just keep it mainstream. Keep it on topic. The same way you don't have a choice but to be your parent's slave and do what the fuck they tell you to do in all of these different facets. You're not living for yourself. You still gotta do this. I'm not saying that that's right. I'm not saying parents should be who hop and celebrated for doing that type of shit to their youth. But it is what it is. In that same breath and same token, you gonna have to tell these niggas, just like you done told them to go take the trash out for the last 30 years of their goddamn life, 18 years of their life, however, and did them, and along with the other long list of things that they might not have wanted to do, that might not have made them that might not have made them an individual, made them whoever you wanted them to be. Go ahead and slip in being straight. Do that for me too, thank you. Slip that shit in.
That's not just a thing you slip in. That's my sexual orientation. That's my sexual identity. And that's going to affect me. I think you can. But my thing with that is people do that. And that's where you get the rebelliousness. That's where you get the I'm sneaking in, putting makeup on. Because I know my dad is going to beat my ass if he catches me in these heels that I really, really... Like, what do you...
Honestly, bro, I feel you. And
you know what I'm saying?
I'm only speaking this way because... The standard answers and standard thoughts behind this stuff is already so spoken for. Of course, yeah, you don't want to tell your kids not to have sex forever. Now they gonna really
then they're gonna wild out for sure.
You can't tell your kids that your skirt is too small. Go back in your room. Now they gonna want to wear the short skirts.
And they will behind your back, and they're not gonna tell you. Just like I'm gonna be gay and not tell you.
All right. And honestly, there is no fight against those type of things. I know me innately when I was a kid. When I did some super not okay shit, I thought to myself like, damn, I know this shit ain't okay, but I want to do it. Like, I just want to do it. This shit ain't alright, man. Fuck. And I'll fuck around and just not do it. And sometimes I would. But if I was to get cooked somewhere and doing the wrong one, then ultimately, bro, it was my fault. I got caught up in doing some dirty shit, whatever the case may be. It's the same thing with the whole sexuality shit. You gonna fuck around and rebel your way into the lion's den that you cannot go back from, and you gonna and if you do go back from it, it's gonna be however many deeds later, and now you gotta deal with that or not, whatever, depending on the person. But I mean, you can't just, there is no way of just be straighting your kid into being straight.
Right.
But there is kind of ways of slow learning, teaching your kid to be straight. They rebel. If they say no, fuck that, whatever that case may be, that's your L as a parent. That's their L as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing really. You can't abuse your way into straightening out your kid. Period.
And I think it has to do with what they see. Like I understand the progressiveness of movies and shows and having gay characters and two moms and two dads, but I think also what you see plays a big role. Like if your child was seeing more images of a healthy, happy family that was man and woman, you know, not same sex, I think that would kind of maybe sway or deter how they see couples, how they see them potentially growing up. But I think because it is so out there, it's almost like we have free will, right? We all have free will, but I think it's like because I don't want to call it an agenda, but I think because the gay community and transgenderism is just so out there circulating, I think it's like it's just easy to grab onto, especially if you don't have like a firm foundation. So that's my only concern, is like kids who don't have a firm foundation of who they are, their identity, their sexual orientation, what life is, what they want. They don't have a good handle on anything. And so I think it's harmful to have so much in the media and on social media about sexual orientation and gender identity and sexual reassignment surgery. It's just dangerous. I don't know what you do about it, but I do think it's dangerous.
Man, I think it's dangerous too, but at the same time, I think it's up to parents and people, friends, family, communities to basically properly teach and learn their kids the proper way.
Mm-hmm.
The same way, like you say, with the TV shows, the music, all of these things, most TV shows got bad guys. Most movies got bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
But parents do a damn hard job of making sure their kid isn't the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the kids might rebel and do bad guy shit. You gotta take that L as a parent. You can't win them all, yeah. But that ain't, just because you got a possibility of your kid being the bad guy, don't mean you're not gonna say, that's wrong, stop doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Every time they do something wrong. Every time. That's not gonna stop you. It's the same thing with the sexual orientation shit. You gotta do your part into teaching your kids to not be one of these things. You gotta do your part on being straight. Yes, there is a possibility these niggas might say fuck that. They might feel ostracized. They might feel whatever from that.
But yeah, at a certain point, at least as long as they're under your roof, kind of a thing. Because when they're an adult, I feel like you can't really control that.
Yes, as long as you're responsible for them, you gotta do your part as in making sure that they turn out straight. Fuck it. You gotta make sure you do your part and make sure they turn out straight. That just
sounds so like be straight or else, you know.
It is. You don't say fucking don't. You don't say be nice to the neighbor and stop there. You say be nice to the neighbor or else.
But hear me out. Those things, like, I think it's just different because inherently there's nothing wrong with not being straight other than
it is
being perceived as wrong. I'm saying in comparison to, like, if you're not nice and you're mean, that could have terrible consequences. If you kill people, that could have terrible consequences.
It's the same thing with being straight.
It's not the same
thing. Yes, it is. It is the same thing with being straight. It's so crazy to me how everybody like to highlight and identify.
What is the harmful thing?
I'm about to tell you. Everybody like to highlight and identify with spirituality on this time, or energetics on this time, karmatic shit on this time, or genetic goods and bads this time and that time. But then when it just comes to being gay, this has no effects if it ain't. This has no effects. This is good. You're good. No.
What voice is that?
No, that's society, bro. Like, nah, it's the same thing. You know, you're not just A-okay if you're gay. You're not just good to go if you're gay. If you're mean, you might have some outside of some shit that's gonna harm you from being mean. People not want to talk to you. People might beat you up for being mean.
Or you starting like fights with the wrong people, like because you're mean.
And because you're gay, now you just opened up the door for all type of ain't no telling what curses you done just did. It ain't no telling what type of halts you done put you and your whole genetic code through. Ain't no telling how many generations you just set back from doing all of this stuff. It ain't no telling, and the list goes on. It ain't no fuck no telling. I mean, it ain't no limits.
Mm-hmm.
We could identify some limits. Being mean might get you. You might get a couple. We could list off, but you can't even begin to fathom what type of dirt that being gay might get you, or at least acting on it.
Do you mean like spiritually, or do you mean like physically, like in life, like
I named them
gay?
all. Physically, you could spiritually, genetically, karmatically. Or I don't know if karmatically or karmic, whatever the word is, but karma wise, yeah. Motherfucking energetically, the whole nine. And let's not talk about what type of things you might have to suffer from physically. You gotta
physically, yeah.
Speed walk past every dark alley. You fuck around, be too gay.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like that shouldn't be like, if you decide to be gay, like your way of living is automatically compromised. I don't think that's fair.
Shoulder shrugs. You can't make listen.
Like, I just wanted to go into the ice cream parlor and get my double scoop, and now can't even live correctly.
Can't even live just because you are what you are. You can't even enjoy it.
But that's nuts, because you get to be who you are, and no one persecutes you for it.
You can't just get to be who you are. If I'm Uncle Ruckus and everybody knows I'm Uncle Ruckus, I can't just get to walk in here and be Uncle. Nobody can just be who they want to be and shoulder shrug through it and no type of nothings and live their life. Nobody get that luxury. Nobody. If I want to dress like a clown 24/7, I can't just live my life and go to any ice cream bar and not have to get persecuted because I like dressing like a clown. There's certain things you can and can't do.
Right.
That's how the world operates.
Right.
And I'm not going to sit here and say it's not fair, because it ain't no limits. It's literally no limits. You can't walk around and be a clown. You can't walk around in a referee suit all damn day and get away with it. You can't do this and get away with it. You can't do that. So yeah, you're not going to be able to get away with sometimes you're not going to be able to get away with just being gay.
A lot of the times.
That's fair. But a lot of the times a clown ain't neither. If it ain't Halloween, nigga, you're cooked. If you doing some weird shit, 9 times out of 10, you're not getting away with it. Life ain't gonna be peaceful, and it don't stop there just because you gay. So it ain't nothing about being fair or not fair. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
Now, if everybody get to dress up in clown suits and they get to walk in the ice cream bars and shit, and they be untouched, if the niggas in dog suits get to do it too and they be untouched, but now the gay niggas gotta be the only niggas who get harassed. Okay, now we getting a little unfair. But that's not the case.
But you're saying if you want to be other, if you want to identify as other, then basically you sign up for those
extreme
consequences.
Other, yes.
Why you gotta put extreme?
Because they're saying we not gonna regular other it. If you want to be extreme other, yes, you might have to face some things.
Okay.
Again, just for the record, this is all on wax.
Right.
My voice can get reverse searched. I don't know if they could do it this year, but in a few years they gonna find me or something. With that being said, I don't believe in no person being harmed if you not harming. If you not hurting people, if you not a killer, if you ain't a thief, or if you ain't all of these things, bro, if you're not harming nobody, I don't think you deserve to be harmed. And that, of course, that branches off into gay people, trans people, the whole nine. I don't think you need to be mentally harmed, physically harmed. I don't think you need to be messed with at all. But if you're doing harming, then I do believe that there needs to be voices that stops the harming. Sometimes just voices, sometimes it might need to be physical, whatever. But if you harming, harm meets harm.
Right.
Period. Just being gay, just being trans, just being all of these things is not a green light to hurt, to harm, verbally, physically, nobody. Period.
I agree.
So I said some things earlier about somebody being on fire or something like that. I just had to clear that up.
Set the record straight.
Yeah.
My last final question for you is, do you think, or is there a place for these people in society? And in a sense of like, obviously, you know, we all live together, so there's a place and a space for everybody. But I think as we progress and into the future, I think the way maybe certain laws are gonna go, like for example, like the gay people got marriage rights, and now trans people can change their body parts, like, you know, so like little things like that. It's like, oh, I do have a place in this world. I do have a place. Like I fit. They considered me. I can get married. I can do normal people things. But like, if those go away, or just in general, do you think? Because I don't think this society was built for these people specifically, because of what you said. I think when you make a different choice, or when you decide to live your life in a different way, or maybe like a non-traditional way, it's like, you can live, like, you know, you can do the things you want to do, you can still live your life, but it's like, it's not the same. It's not the same. And I can attest to that, like having dated a woman and having dated men. In the relationship, different. The way society treats you, different. Like it's like, you know, you're not doing anything wrong or like bad per se in terms of like harming. Like, I'm not harming anybody, so like people shouldn't be harming me, but it feels like people are harming me. And then when I'm going with the normal choice, the societal norm of like, I'm dating men, you know, it's like everything's fine. I don't feel persecuted. I feel like normal when I walk outside. And so it's like, I don't think this society was built for people who choose to live their lives in a non-heterosexual way.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It isn't. It just isn't. To be honest. But then again, I don't really think.
But if they tried to build their own society, they wouldn't have that either.
No.
So that's crazy. Like, how do these people exist in a peaceful state, minding their business?
I think they should be able to build their own society and area.
Like, they would come with pitchforks and knives.
That shit down.
Exactly.
Yeah, they would. But if those same mobsters were to pause and think about it, this is exactly what they want.
They're not thinking about it.
They just want to harm. They just fucked up in the head a little bit. But that's
so
what
now everybody's fucked up.
In a way, yeah. If you so hell bent on some niggas being gay, you found out it was a secret gay couple down the street, and you go get your shit, bro, kicked down their door, you have your own problems. Straight up, something ain't right with you. But like, that's what honestly, that's what the people should want. Like, you so scared about your kids being harmed and this bleeding off into this part, and you so worried about that. You should be okay with them having their own area or their own ways of living wherever the heck. Like, you should be okay with that. Whatever, as long as it ain't in the dead center of a playground. Like, okay. Mm-hmm. But like, for the most part, bro, be okay if them niggas is wherever they at. Do their thing. But what?
I was gonna say, so that's the community. Like, you know? Like, that's why they form their own communities. But it's like, that's also not okay.
That's because it's one thing to form your own community, and then everybody in the community grab microphones and push these communities' beliefs. We ain't saying you could do all that.
But everybody else is doing that. The Christians are pushing their own beliefs. Okay. The heterosexuals are pushing their own beliefs. But when they do it, it's a problem.
Okay, and you damn
They're
right.
They're doing the same exact thing that the other side is doing.
You damn right. Innately, I don't know. I'm not sure about what the ins and outs. I wasn't there when the Christian niggas formed their own little group. Wasn't there. Don't know too crazy about that. But innately, I don't think when the Christians grab their microphones, bro, them niggas is pushing things that'll cause somebody to be harmed. I don't think they pushing things that'll cause somebody to be genetically cooked, reproductively cooked. I don't think they causing for people to be mentally, chemically, biologically cooked. I don't think when they grab their megaphones, they're doing that type of damage. Same thing with all the other groups that you mentioned. But unfortunately, when the group of concern grab their microphones, them niggas pushing some pressure. They pushing that shit out. Some harm.
The only thing they're pushing is what they know. They're pushing what they live, and that's what all the other groups are doing.
So you could put that don't make it okay. If all I ever knew was gang violence, do I grab a megaphone and push gang violence because that's all I ever knew
But
no.
keyword violence. I'm not pushing anything that has the word violent
affiliation,
in it.
gang affiliation. Do I grab a microphone and push gang affiliation? No, just because I lived it and that's all I know. No, you don't do that. You don't. Everybody just don't get a fucking megaphone.
They don't. But why do the people who are anti get a megaphone?
But hey, look again.
That's my thing.
I don't know why them niggas get the megaphone.
Because it'd be one thing if you're just pushing love and unity and peace and positivity, but they have to go a step further and be anti everything.
Them niggas be, a lot of them niggas, as far as I be seeing, they be anti the ones with the mics. They don't just be anti secret gay niggas in the house down the street. They don't be anti
because nobody knows about them. Okay. They're in the house down the street in the secret.
They don't be anti the ones who walking down the street with their hands, holding hands with each other.
No, they do.
You right. Just like
people do.
You right. Just like this KKK members still operating loud with they megaphones. You right. Some people do operate with gay people being normally gay, not quiet gay, not secret gay, just normal gay,
living their life.
Them niggas got microphones too. How about everybody has a microphone?
Okay. Damn near they do now.
Everybody got microphones. And I'm not saying it's okay for some people to have them. Well, yes, I am. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is I can't justify why the Christians got their mics, why the anti-gayers got their mics. Only time I think a nigga should grab a microphone is if you can see if you don't grab your microphone, it might be way easier for the group that you don't want to alter whatever you got going around is about to negatively, badly alter whatever you got going around. Then you might have to grab you a mic and stand up for what you got going. If niggas became buku fucking racist around this bitch, like the bad, everybody racist, but the bad racist, too bad to racist, you might have to grab you a little mic and anti-racist some shit loudly. Mm-hmm. You might have to. Mm-hmm. And maybe some of the anti-gay niggas or whatever, maybe something done happen with one of them niggas. They done seen some shit that was too foul for their eyes, and they feel like in order to protect their kids or whatever themselves, who knows, they gotta grab them a mic and get frantic. And the gay niggas, the trans niggas, might feel like shit, nigga. In order for me to feel comfortable around this bitch, I gotta grab me a mic.
The active resistance, and that's the whole thing. That was the whole how it originated. You're gonna persecute us as gays, and we're gonna riot, and we're gonna resist, and we're gonna go up against your agenda because you're coming for us, trying to live our lives in the most authentic way that we know possible, which is harming you.
Okay, and look, and that's so fair for real. If I was a certain type of being, and me being my being, I ain't in this bitch with no megaphone saying, "What up, little niggas in the elementary school on the corner? Be gay." If I'm not on that type of time or anything of its sort, and y'all niggas still pressing me, you damn right I'm about to grab a mic, nigga. I'm about to band together all my gay niggas and get to it.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
Yeah, you damn right. So I feel them on that level. And same thing, vice versa, with the people, with the anti-gay niggas with their mics. Like, if you feel like these niggas is preaching the gays to the elementary school in the corner, get active.
Right.
But at the end of the day, bro, I don't think nobody, again, if these mics, nobody picking up their mics, and I can't even say that, because if you see some gay folks holding hands walking down the street, two men walking down the street, and you got a house full of boys, you ain't got not one daughter, you got nine-year-old boys, and they see that, they done seen about 1,000 more regular couples, so innately they might know which one is like more likely to be okayer than the other one.
Right.
So just because you seen this don't mean I got boys in this house, I'm about to grab me a mic and turn up on these gay niggas. Alright, brother. But at the same time, if just like there's 1,000 options of being straight and or regular to your nine-year-old boys in this house, and then there's also 1,000 of their opposites as well, then it might be more inclined for these people to grab a mic and become anti-gayers from this one group they just seen holding hands, because it's not just them one, it's 1,000 of them. Audio versions, you hear it, you see it everywhere, and now in the physical, you see it walking down the street, you might grab you a fucking mic. Don't make it right, but it adds a little more insight and understanding. And for the gays who feel attacked, who feel like they trying to get like killed just for holding hands with who they love, they just as righteous to grab themselves a mic too and defend themselves and band together with them. Point blank, period.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. You have any last lingering thoughts, words?
Let me see, man.
I just want to make it known that I respect and I accept everybody, and I'm not an anti anything. You live your life how you want to live your life. When you bring the children into it, it's a different story. It's a different ball game. I don't think they should be influenced at all or impressed upon at all.
That's so contradicting almost.
I mean, hey, life is a big contradiction.
Okay, we're gonna let that go just because we at the end. But
I mean, is that not a fair statement to make?
You can't be anti this, that until these things. Until these things take place.
Because then another element is introduced.
Well, those things are taking place right now.
But they don't affect. Okay, let me say my children. Can I say that?
So that's crazy. So you're not anti-gay, trans, the whole nine?
No, not in a sense of like they have an agenda that we need to stop pushing. Like if that's your truth, speak your truth. I'm not here to stand in the way of that. I'm not here to.
Until what? Until you feel like those things touching your youth. Now you're in the way of those things. Now you're standing in defense of those things. Now you're quote unquote anti those things.
I'm not anti. Still do what you want to do. But my children will have no parts of that until they're old enough to conceptualize what's actually going on.
Well, the only way that can be the case is if you're anti it.
I don't have to be anti.
Don't think that work.
What?
Don't think that work. Like if you don't want your kids to watch scary movies in the house at all until they're 10 years old, you're anti scary movie until the age of 10.
But just because I don't expose them does not mean I think negatively of what I'm not exposing them to.
It's not about what they're exposed to. It's about what you believe in, what you relate to, what you're pro. There's only one other side. There's only two other sides of
You can be neutral. You can be neutral.
You can be pro something, you could be anti something, or you're unidentified with either neutral. You're unidentified with either side. But you're not unidentified. You're not neutral. And you're not pro neither.
I'm pro other people living their life how they want to live it.
I'm only talking about until. This until that you slipped in there.
Until I have children. And then I'm not anti. I can be neutral. I can still be pro. I can still be pro, but I'm just not introducing my children to these concepts, these thoughts before they're ready and old enough to understand.
That's not what you said.
I'm saying it now.
You said that you are not anti none of the aboves as long as something. As long as you have
I said
kids.
the children are involved.
Until the children are involved. And at that very moment, you become anti it. You don't become neutral it.
I'm not anti.
Do you become neutral it once you have kids?
I don't think I become neutral, and I don't think I become anti. I just become very conscious and conscientious of what information is going where and to whose ears.
But you pick and choose which one you want. Which one? No.
I'm not saying okay, I have kids now, so I'm like hiding all the gay things that I don't want to see.
But you're not with it no more.
I'm not with it though.
You are not with it.
I was never not with it.
What do you mean?
When I say with it, I simply mean like just not anti. Like I'm not like.
Are you indifferent to it now? Because right now at this very moment, you're indifferent to the whole gay, trans community. You're indifferent. Or are you on their side? If everybody's passing out microphones and telling you to voice what side you're on, you're with them. Or are you not with them? Are you like, what are you right now?
Right now, I'm with them, living their truths, fighting for their rights, fighting for a space to exist in a society that does not make room for them, as long as they're not influencing children.
Okay. And my only response is that's impossible. You can't make room for yourself in any society that has kids there. You can't make room for yourself, be vocal, and fight without a child knowing exactly what you're fighting for, knowing exactly what you do, knowing exactly why you're doing what you. It doesn't work that way. It's impossible. Just like you're aware
Parental
of it.
controls. It's up to the parents
No,
to
ma'am.
shield their youth from the things that are going on.
It doesn't work like that.
It does.
It doesn't.
Because things happen all the time that kids aren't exposed to.
Okay, kids.
But that doesn't mean that my
stance,
in my opinion, has to change just because I don't want the kid. Like, what?
These are, you just said that you're pro them fighting in a space that making room
as
for
long
themselves.
as they don't influence the children.
But that's impossible.
It's not impossible.
You can't.
I'm saying, okay, let me say intentionally. As long as they don't intentionally influence the children, as long as they're not telling children, "Hey, you can be this, you can do this." If they're doing their activism with adults, with people who are 25 and older,
they're not saying this. Everything that I say from here on out only applies to 25 and older. With that being said, they're not.
They're not.
Their
but
shit
I'm
affects
saying
the kids.
It does affect them. It does affect them. But what I'm saying is the intention.
They are purposely influencing them too. They're not saying...
And that's what I'm not with. The purposeful influence of kids.
The only way that they can fight for a space that's not for them and be a part of this community that doesn't make any room for them, the only way that they can do that without purposely influencing kids is by purposely taking kids out of the whole fight, which they don't do. So they are purposely influencing the kids as well.
So you're saying if I am against them influencing kids with their movement, I'm anti the whole thing?
No, I'm saying you can't be pro the whole thing until a certain thing starts taking place, when that certain thing is taking place the whole time. You are not pro it if that's your cutoff.
Then the answer to my question. But as it stands right now, my stance, like, it doesn't matter to me what they do. Like,
it does. You just said it matters.
It matters when my children are involved. My children are not involved.
So now it was the children. It was my children. Now then it was the children. Now it's my children again.
It's all.
So again,
it's my children and the children. But I don't think
are involved right now.
Are they?
Everyone.
Well, I'm anti the children being involved.
Well, then you're anti the movement.
I don't know that that's the case.
There isn't,
because the whole movement isn't about make children gay and transgender. That's not the movement. The movement is.
That's not the point. The movement doesn't exclude the kids. The movement,
it doesn't exclude them.
If it doesn't
but
exclude
it's not,
them, they're
it
included.
Doesn't single. They're included, but they're not singled out.
They're singled out though.
It does matter.
You didn't say if they single if this shit is singling out the kids. No.
But the movement of the LGBTQ community and the transgender community is not to make kids gay or trans. That's not their movement. That's not their agenda. That's not their
but that's not
motive.
We're not this little.
But that's what I'm anti.
So you're anti targeting the kids.
Yes, which I think some people are specifically doing.
So you're not anti the kids being influenced.
No, I am. I am anti the kids being influenced.
Let's stick on that then. Let's leave the targeted out. Everybody's anti-targeted.
Okay.
Most people are anti that.
Okay.
But when we talking about you're anti-gays when it comes to them influencing the kids.
I'm not anti them. I'm not anti them.
You're
I'm not anti the movement.
Gay.
I'm anti the influencing of children with concepts that they are not old enough to conceptualize.
So the question was, are you pro or anti the whole gay, trans, LGBT community? Your answer is, I am pro it. I am pro them fighting for a space that isn't theirs, fighting for a community that doesn't make room for them, so on and so forth, until it influences the kids. That whole fight, that whole space making thing is directly influencing the kids the entire time. The kids aren't excluded at all. Kids aren't even tried to be excluded. They're not even said, look, viewer discretion is advised. They don't even add that on there. This shit is influencing the hell out of the kids. So your I'm pro this.
But that's not the purpose.
We not talking about purpose. I'm pro this until something takes place. That's something is taking place.
So then, okay, I see what you're saying.
So you can't. I'm just saying you can't have both.
I still stick beside what I said. I hear what you're saying. To make a logical point out of it, but
okay.
For the sake of not being logical, I'm pro the movement until the kids are influenced, and I understand. Well, the kids are being influenced, so now I'm no longer pro. That's a logical argument here.
How could we even be so attached to an argument that we can't even logically like describe and separate and categorize? We can't do it logically. It doesn't work. We just proved that. It doesn't work. But we're vocally for something we can't even get logical with. Is that not a danger? Is that itself not a bad influence on our next generation of offspring itself? How many kids are we training to be okay and along and vote and big fist in the air, hoorah, hooray for some shit? You don't got to be logical about. Ain't that harmful in a way?
Potentially, I think it could be harmful, but it could also be teaching them the other side of things. That's not logic. Everything is not always logical. Everything is not rooted in logic.
But this one is.
Says who? And I would argue that it's not. Because logically, if we're speaking about transgender people, logically, it makes sense for me to identify as a man. I have male parts. Logically, it makes sense for me to identify as straight. I'm a woman. I'm attracted to men. That's how we were created. Logically, those things make sense. But all of this is about feeling. I feel different. I feel like I'm a woman trapped in a man's body. I feel like I should have breasts. I feel like it's not logical. The whole thing is not logical. So we're already not really playing in logic's playground to begin with.
They're not playing in logic's playground to begin with because they have a malfunction. We though? Different story. But nonetheless, personally, am I pro, neutral, or anti the whole movements, the whole fighting for a space that isn't theirs? I'm not about to grab a microphone and hoop hop hooray about it because truly, if them niggas gonna do their thing, they gonna do their thing. I take that back. That is my politically correct answer. In real life,
you are anti.
You damn near gotta be. Because if it ain't no neutral ground and it ain't no, I'm damn sure not pro it.
You can be neutral.
Nah, I'm not pro what ain't right.
I think you can be neutral.
I'm saying me. You probably can be neutral. You could not give a fuck. Some people don't give a fuck about who the president. You could be neutral.
Yeah.
But me personally, I'm not gonna be neutral. If I have to pick between being pro or anti it, I can't get with them niggas. If a mic was handed to me and said vocally express which side you want, I cannot be comfortable hopping on that side. So innately, anti the whole shit.
Anti the whole shit.
Anti the whole shit. But in being anti, it's different levels. You got the anti niggas with the pitchforks, you got the anti niggas with the mics, and you got the anti-niggas on the podcast. I'm just the anti-nigga on the podcast.
You're not burning anybody at the stake.
No,
and
I'm
you're
not
yelling. Shouting to the mountaintops.
I'm not shouting to the mountaintops. I'm not voting for no craziness, hoping for no harmfulness. None of the above.
But you just don't agree.
Just don't agree with that shit. Simple. And I think it should be stopped.
And
in the rioted way, a harmful way, maybe not. But if we can help folks get back on track type stopped, that's the stopping I'm down with.
So what's your suggestion? Say we're in a world where they're to be stopped, and we're in a society where the men like women, the women like men, the children all have their original body parts. What do you say to the people who are uncomfortable with that? Like, they know this is how they're supposed to live. This is how everybody lives. It's
unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but damn. I give you a hug. I feel sorry for you. Real shit. It's not.
You're gonna pity and give them sympathy.
I mean, that's a fucked up reality to live in. Everything is normal. Everything is okay, except you. Fuck. I'm sorry, bro. Like, that's tough. I dead ass. I'm gonna pray for that. Like, I'm gonna pray for you, bro, and hope salvation come your way, nigga. That's tough. That's torture. That's prison. That's tough. That's how I feel about it.
And could you imagine that that's probably how they feel about it?
Still tough.
No, I'm saying, like, that's tough.
That is tough. It sucks.
Like,
but that's what I would do.
But,
I wouldn't continue doing more things.
Yeah.
And opening up more doors. It stops at damn. Sorry, bro. It stops there.
Well, that was a lovely chat.
It was a lovely chat.
I appreciate you and your unique perspective on the matter. And it's always good to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any last closing remarks?
No, thank you for having me. And chat, if y'all want to know more about my opinions, just find me here.
And on that note, until next time.